all these pieces of device in them. So the best thing is to try to avoid that and eat healthy. And we're not saying no one knows sometimes they have a birth defect until maybe 50 or 40, but that's the birth defect. But in the other sense, we're actually doing it to ourselves.
So we need to check out the doctor. Like
sometimes
once a year.
Yeah,
once a year is the best time to check the doctor. Yeah, but sometimes they could misdiagnose. They could misdiagnose your symptoms and what you have. And in late 50s or early 49, 50, you could realize, oh, I didn't know I had a birth defect in my heart after all these years.
Because you know what happened? I have a friend and she has a son, and he's only 6, and he's having high blood pressure, and he never was diagnosed with that.
It wasn't like that?
And he birthed with that defect.
Oh.
I don't know what is the problem, the real problem, but I know he's having medication for high blood pressure. Mm-hmm. And she feels like it was unfair because that was her pediatrician, like the whole 6 years that he had. But she always said to the doctor, every time he comes from the school, he said, I'm really tired. He doesn't want to do anything. And, he's not like an active boy. And it was because of that.
Yeah, the problem, yeah. And then this brochure handout, it shows you where these are elderly people here. But guess what? The kids could suffer the same effect on the problems like these people suffer. And then they have to live their lives like this for how long? We don't know. So it all comes back to you, the parent.
Yeah.
Right? So we just have to, help them lead a healthy life too, as much as we would want for ourselves.
It's like when you go to a doctor, the first things that they ask you when it comes to history, like, have anybody in your family has suffered from heart disease? Has anybody in your family suffered from high blood pressure?
Yeah.
Because a lot of those things are like sort of genetic, where if the parent has gone through it, you're more likely to become diagnosed with almost the same problem because you're living in the same lifestyle, you're eating the same types of food, you've been exposed to all these stuff. So it's like a lot of these diseases and stuff are kind of passed on to younger people, and as younger people, the more we get educated, the more we can avoid the whole passing on from genetics to genetics.
Right, and in your presentation too, like the people who live in foreign neighborhoods and can't afford it, they get foods, only fat foods at cheaper cost, so that's all they could afford. So that could contribute to not eating right. Could this be avoided? No. So in a sense of,
Well, I don't think so, because meat is expensive than vegetables. Like if you want to eat vegetables, if you want to eat right, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but there's some people who just can't afford it every day, and they just pick up what they can eat. There are places like that. But
you mean like in the shelter?
No, in Brooklyn and the Bronx and everywhere else, California, everywhere else, everywhere in the street.
No. I'm sorry, I don't understand.
There are people like poor people, less fortunate people, lives in the Bronx. Maybe you don't know it. Live in Brooklyn, live in Staten Island, who may not be able to afford a healthy meal every day, and who may just be able to get some bread and peanut butter not every day, but some days the vegetables they don't have the money to buy. The fruits they don't have the money to buy. So they're just less fortunate than us who live where the fruits and vegetables are. They just can't afford it. They don't have the money to buy it. And these are people who can't avoid being sick, I guess.
I know what you mean.
You want to bring some money to them?
No. What I was saying is, because you said they can't afford it, and I'm like, okay, the vegetables are less expensive than most of the other kind of foods. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we would want vegetables, we would want rice, and we would want meat, and we would want something else for dessert. So they maybe they can only avoid the rice or the bread. The money to buy the vegetables isn't there. So they could be financially handicapped in a sense where they can't afford it.
Also, what might be a point is like vegetables are less filling than those other foods. So if I didn't have enough money and I had to choose between meat or rice and carrots, I would definitely not buy vegetables because
exactly.
You need to feed a family.
Exactly, and you have to stretch it out. So we have comparisons here where one family could afford it, the other family can't afford it, and they're the ones who suffer these problems most because they don't have the opportunity to buy the foods to make them healthier, and their children.
Yeah. Many supermarkets in poor neighborhoods don't are very expensive. A lot of times they're buying things at the bodega on the
Yeah.
corner.
Vegetables are
So-
expensive.
So they may not have it as available. Now, we all like to go to McDonald's and eat a lot because they give you a lot of salty, delicious things. So it's also the portions and all that is very
Very-
tempting. And at a very cheap price, you can fill up on McDonald's, feed your kids, and
Right.
you know,
Dollar
not
menu.
everyone's, what's it?
Dollar menu.
Yeah, dollar menu. So kind of, bang for buck, you can get a lot of food.
Especially now the cost of everything is way up top because of the
Sure.
economy,
Sure.
not everybody could afford